Bonus episode.
Woo!
I'm Alma,
I'm JP.
and we're going to continue our conversation about Avatar: The Last Airbender. But for the next few minutes, we want to talk about how we would have done it. Uh, JP mentioned in our previous video that this was an adaptation. The original writers left the Netflix series. So if we would be on their team. But if they told us that they were dependent on us, hopefully our story would be true to their concept, but adaptive. So I think right away, how we ended our last episode or YouTube awesome video, I would have focused on the seeds being planted. Talk about Sozin. Talk about Roku. And maybe within these 100 years, maybe let's go into some stories that we haven't heard yet. Like Jean, Jean, I can never say his name right.
Jung, yeah.
Jung. What's his story? He tells his story, but we don't see his story. Another cool thing, you know how through book one, book two, and book three, they talk about like the pie show, the White Lotus? Plant those seeds and tell me that's not a cool live action show.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want to learn about the Avatar, don't talk about a notebook that you stole. Tell me what's in the notebook. Make the notebook a bigger deal. Show me these avatars. What did Aang really learn from these avatars? You know how they kept
Yeah,
going
I like that.
back and
I
forth
really like
about
that. I really like that.
different legends? Give me an episode where they focus on a legend that encompasses kind of the entire episode.
This is good. Can I? Yeah. So I love what Anma's saying. That's really good stuff. I really like it. I had in the previous video I mentioned that maybe make a movie about Avatar and Sozin. But now I'm thinking, why don't you just start at the show with how the war started? So an hour-long episode of Roku and Sozin growing up together. You could do the whole thing in the show about that.
You're already trying to make an adaptive storyline.
And going deeper into Sozin's desires, like why is he this conquering type? You can go into that. And then the next episode, you adapt and you focus more on Aang. Like, okay, so Roku died. All right, so then there's 12 years in between Roku's death and this. The war hasn't started yet, right? Because it just starts with the genocide of the air nomads. So adapt, go into this 12-year period of Hank and him developing his skills and choosing these toys and like build on the relationship with Aang and Monkeyatsu. Um, I say that in a funny way, Monkeyatsu, right?
Yeah, monkey so
Um, so that's how I would adapt it, and then yeah, like show show the episode where and like this one how in this live action it's like really short. We don't need any like keep it short as Order 66. um You know what I mean, audience. Just keeping it PG here. And so then, yeah, then go into the boy in the iceberg, and then adapt. Katara and Sokka before they meet Aang. I mean, because we don't in that first episode, there's not a lot about Katara and Sokka, you know, but make Sokka funny, like the show. But it's
But this is where episode 6 masks succeeded. They told a story around the story.
yeah.
And it was
So
good. It ended beautifully. They learn about Zuko, and then they all respect Zuko. Good storytelling.
good
Good
storytelling.
job.
So I would expound and adapt. Maybe we actually get to see Hakoda, and all that, and kind of explain more around that, like, just expound on that. And then like there's the character development, Katara and Sokka, and and then they eventually meet up with Aang, and however you want to do this, they decided to take out this character arc of Sokka because they said there was too much sexism. Well, it's not like it's only in season one because he grows and matures as a character when he gets his butt kicked by the Kyoshi Warriors. So keep that. So I don't know. What I'm saying is figure out a way how they stumble upon Aang. Okay. And then like you can go really quickly into meeting up Zuko and maybe not expound on Zuko just yet. Like maybe we wait until like the mask episode and Iroh when they're introduced more, you know. But maybe we don't know anything about these characters, but like let them just come into the show and just explain really quickly, like, well, he's Zuko needs to capture him because he needs to regain his honor, you know. Expound on that, I guess.
Well,
Um,
I mean, talking about that for a second, that was his motivation, trying to regain his honor.
yeah.
In this live action series, they just talked about him getting the Avatar back so he can go home.
And with the Southern Air Temple um episode, I don't like how in this show too and in the movie it was that scene was like really long and drawn out. Obviously, we need to feel some emotion from Aang. I do think Katara and Sokka to protect him, maybe keep the truth away from him, and figuring it out on his own, like, oh wow, um, like it really sinks into him that he was, that happened, but don't make it long and drawn out. But like maybe in that Southern Air Temple, he has to, you know, like Alma said, like go talk about more of the avatars before him and stuff. I wouldn't really change anything about the like Alma said, the Kyoshi episode was actually not bad, you know. So expound, yeah, bring Kyoshi out. Yeah, like all that. That's great stuff. Um, maybe like I said, like um, maybe you combine the King of Umashu episode with Imprisoned and Haru and all this stuff. Yeah, you can expound on like don't change Boomy, obviously, but um, maybe this episode you go more into Boomy and Aang as a little kid, right? We can get more of that. You can expound that relationship where all of a sudden, like, Aang doesn't recognize Boomy. Um, and like I said, maybe you just take out Haru and all that stuff, or kind of combined it because maybe they're just maybe Boomy says, "Hey, Aang, I actually need your help." A lot of Fire Nation people captured our people, and maybe Haru's in that episode too. Maybe keep him in. I don't know.
I think you have to do fan servicing right.
So, are you saying like we keep Haru or something?
Well, think about it. It's a fan service to do X, Y, or Z. So why didn't we give our best shot? Like, we really want to see Jet. So here's Jet. Okay.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about? I didn't get any of that. So if we're gonna do fan servicing, let's give it a good. So and we're sorry, Airbender fans, that we're bringing in superheroes into this conversation, but I feel like this is a good example because JP knows this all the time. So when we were watching WandaVision or when we were watching Moon Knight, I was always expecting in the last episode that they would fan service me with something grand and do it right. So I was thinking like Doctor Strange was going to show up. It didn't happen. So if you're going to talk about Jet, why is Jet only in really one episode?
Yeah.
Just as an idea. You're gonna service me as a fan who loves Avatar Roku and loves the Winter Solstice episodes in the cartoon, and then just completely drop that. So that's what I'm hearing. What you're talking about, where if we're gonna put something in an episode, if we're gonna do it our own way, we need to do it right.
Hmm. Yeah. So then afterwards, the winter solstice storyline, go all out on Roku again. I don't know. That's great stuff. Um,
Yeah, I guess
and then-
you could have if you're really wanting people to get to know the show and be more diverse, give us more Kyoshi, give us more Roku. Don't just have
yeah,
them sit there.
yeah.
Oh, but we
So
give you
then,
three avatars. You've never done that before. Yeah, your cartoon show never did that. Yeah, they did, and they did it better.
so then, there's this episode right before Jet, the waterbending scroll. So I would expound on the origins of waterbending and have you this is I think is a good adaptation, even though they get it from pirates or whatever. Maybe the adapted version of this is uh Katara and Aang, like Zuko and Aang when they go and meet the Sun Warriors. Maybe you can adapt this storyline, change it. Maybe you don't have the pirates. I mean, maybe you bring the pirates with Jet but let me just focus on the waterbending. Like maybe Katara and Aang go on this journey of understanding you can go into the history of the ocean and the moon and how the first waterbenders were granted that and they learn the true origins and they're learning together. Expound on that, adapt on that, I feel. Now, I don't have anything to say about Jet. I think he was a good character. I'm not really putting much thought into him in the live action, so I'm just gonna skip that. And I'm also gonna skip the Great Divide because
Well, they didn't even.
you
They
can,
only talked about it in the show.
yeah, just like that. But if you want to show Aang as a mediator, you can do that little by little in each segment. It doesn't. But anyhow, so what is the storm about again? What do you remember what the storm is about again?
Because I'm not going to take everything from the cartoon.
Well, actually, I don't think you need to do this episode because So this is a combination of Aang telling Katara about how he felt, knowing that he was the Avatar. And then this is the episode 2 that Iroh explains to the cruise ship about Zuko and everything. But you can save that for like the episode of Mask or something. Oh, so Sokka, yeah, Sokka takes like a fishing trip, right? Oh. Well, see, I don't think that that episode is really necessary if we did a couple an hour long episode of between the death of Roku and Aang being revealed that he's the Avatar. So yeah, um, I
It's like
mean,
I
there's
said in
so
our last
much
video.
source material here.
It's like I said in our last video. Take the great source material that you have
Oh,
and expand and give us more. That's how you can adapt.
so maybe we take a shift and we focus more like we have a couple episodes where we focus on Aang and the Avatar team, but maybe we go back to Zuko because all this other stuff like Zuko and Iroh are just like in the middle of everything. So we can go into that just like episode 6, but like there's a lot then you can go more into Zuko and Commander Zhao and that whole thing. I don't really know what to do with the Northern Air Temple. So there's a couple episodes here. The Fortune Teller. But see, that's a filler episode where you see Aang being the mediator and helping, or something. And then there's part two.
You can skip that episode.
Yeah, okay, so we don't need to expound on that. Batu of the Water Tribe. So maybe we can expound on that. See the Northern Air Temple. Maybe we do have an episode of the Northern Air Temple, but it's just very similar and it's just short. Because then right after that, you can make a really drawn out 2 episodes of Paku when they make it when they finally make it to the north. And then it's just like I wouldn't change anything about that except that Zhao does die because of the ocean spirit. You can you can spend time talking about the North. Um, I mean, how would you expand that? Because maybe, like I said, maybe they talk about when you first meet Katara and Sokka, you just focus on the Southern Water Tribe, their history. You expound on that, you adapt on that. So then maybe these other episodes you really, and then at the end you really go into the North. But I really wouldn't change much. I think you know, yeah, so those are my thoughts. I think that would have been better.
It sounds
Honestly,
like a better live action series to me.
way better.
What do you guys think?
Way
How would
uh
you have directed or written the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender series? Tell us in the comments.
I mean, we didn't put much thought into that, and I feel like everybody in the I think if we did get that out and we did that, the reaction would be so much different.
I think there would be more 9 out of 10s.
I think there would be more 9 out of 10s. Yeah, it might be a true 8 out of 10 when you combine. And yes, obviously not everyone's gonna like that, but like that's how you adapt. That's how you expound. Like Anma said, you build a story around the original story, right? That's what you said. Or did I say that wrong?
You said it right. I'm saying if you're gonna tell us a different story, or if you're gonna tell us a good story, center it around a very important piece. And that's why I think the Masks episode succeeded, because that's exactly what they did, but they couldn't do it for any of the other episodes.
Yeah.
They're gonna pretend that two episodes are the winter solstice, and that's not what the winter solstice is. So those are our that's our bonus episode of how we would have done this first season.
Just let us know in the comments how you guys would have done it differently. Zuko should have been older.
And this is probably going way out of it, but and this isn't about Avatar: The Last Airbender per se, because I love Aang, and I know people like Legend of Korra, and they're working on a different Avatar right now. But this is how we'll end it, just because we're on our creative brains right now, so my creative brain is ticking. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a season, maybe just one season, like a spin-off season, where there is a main avatar, right? And they've already kind of done this, but maybe they can do a better job with it. Where there's a person who learns all four elements, but just doesn't have access to the avatar state.
How would they do that?
Just someone who's dedicated their life to learning all four elements, but they're not the avatar.
So, are you saying that this like plot would be like a threat to to the Avatar?
Something, I don't know. It's building little seeds here of possibilities.
That's interesting. It's very
I think it's
interesting.
kind of been done before, but I just like the idea of the next villain being someone who has mastered all four elements, but not being the avatar. But not because he stole the avatar's gifts.
How could someone do that? Because I think that breaks Avatar fandom that there can only be one.
Well, there's only one avatar who has access to the avatar state and four elements, but maybe this individual wants to be the avatar and somehow taps into all four elements, but just can't be an avatar. I don't know. It's just something I wanted to say in this video because I've been thinking about it.
Maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe that person learns about lion turtles. No, but how can you deceive a lion turtle?
How do you deceive the greatest wizard known as Dumbledore and become the dark wizard known as Voldemort?
Oh,
How do you join the enemy, Sauron, and nobody knows that you joined them until Gandalf pays you a visit? I'm just saying people can write it in a way that could work.
yeah, I don't know. That's really interesting. I do want to develop that. I'm just trying to think like how would this person develop these other bending abilities? Because I like this the storyline of a threat to the Avatar, and he has bad intentions, like any other superhero movie, but within the Avatar world.
I don't,
How would just someone? I just like I feel like that breaks the
but just
rule.
coming back to what we're talking about, I think that was one of the coolest things about the storytelling of the cartoon show, because Iroh knew so much, and he was always sharing these legends and these secrets that personally to me kind of got lost in the Legend of Korra. But it just sounds cool what you can do with the Avatar. Same thing what you can do with Star Wars. It's how expansive the story can really be.
Hmm.
You know, just thinking, just thinking.
Well, I think that's it.
Smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, tell your friends.
Road out.